Today, I want to talk about how to be confident. How does one be confident? What does that even mean? I like to think of it in two ways. One is your internal congruence to your authentic self. You are able to express yourself and feel congruent with your authentic self. You don't have this internal conflict where you're pressing the gas and the brake at the same time. You are comfortable in your skin. And that's an internal thing that is happening, not in the external, but internal. I would say in two major ways, there's the internal and the external factors. Okay. We'll talk about it like that. There's internal and external areas of confidence. And I believe they're both very important. Internal is how you feel. It is simply about how you feel. It's how you feel about yourself. Do you feel good about where you are in life? Do you feel good about who you are today? Do you feel good about where you're going? Do you feel good about your job, your relationships, your health? Are you taking care of yourself? And that comes from, that is an expression of how much you care about yourself, how much compassion you have for yourself, how much self-respect you have for yourself. And if you're not showing up for yourself, you're going to take a hit on your confidence, in your internal confidence, like how you feel on a day-to-day basis, how you walk through life, how do you sleep, how do you wake up, how do you eat, how do you think, how do you feel? This is the experience of being you. And do you like the experience? And if you're not feeling so good, then it is an expression of everything I just said. The list of things that you could take care of, you're simply not showing up. And you do that for yourself. Because why? Because you love yourself. You simply do. And if you don't feel that, if you're neglecting yourself, it is also a symptom of lack of that self-love, that you don't feel deserve to show up for yourself. And now that's something that you made yourself believe, or something or someone in the past have made you believe that you have this belief, deep-rooted belief, that for some reason you don't deserve that treatment, that you don't even deserve to treat yourself that way, because somewhere you have been brainwashed into thinking that you don't deserve that type of love, which is false. That was put in you by somebody probably who also doesn't love themselves, and they had projected that onto you, and they wanted you to believe the same things, because that is how they perceive themselves in the world. That is how they walk through life. And so for you to fit in their reality, they needed you to believe the same things. Now, that's something that can be healed. I believe that's something that you can work on through self-compassion and showing up for yourself, and really taking the time to heal and to understand that you don't need anything or anyone to tell you that you should love yourself. You simply can. There's nothing you need to do. There's no achievement you need to accomplish. There's no, special fucking skill or achievement you need for you to deserve love. You simply can love. You simply deserve love. Okay? That is just a universal fact. As God's creation, you deserve love. You are equal to everybody in terms of the amount of love you can receive, and you should receive, without having done anything. You don't need to prove anything to anybody. You simply deserve to be loved. You just do. No matter what anybody says. Anybody that says otherwise, they probably lack that self-love themselves, you see. Anybody that will tell you otherwise also have issues with self-love. They think they need to become rich. They think they need to get this amount of money, drive this kind of car, have these kind of friends, or whatever, whatever, whatever. Once I get this, then people like me. Once I have that, I'm good enough to be whatever. Once I get this job, I will be happy. Like, you can have that as a default. Default setting is, as a human born, you are a creation of that love. Simply. And you can simply accept that. And now that that might be hard because you have this conditioning. You have this conditioning from the past that you're not good enough. You need to do this. You need to do that. You're too much. You're not enough. All of whatever these conditions, all these conditions that for you to be loved is bullshit. It's bullshit. You don't need it. You can simply love yourself. And that takes out so much of the garbage and junk that you thought you had to carry. All these hurdles and conditions and the dragons you had to slay so that you would be deserving to be loved, or for you to even love yourself. Okay. And once you start to build that skill, right? Because you may not be able, you might suck at it. Let's just be honest. You might suck at it now. Okay. But that's a conditioning. You learn to do that. Now you can unlearn it. You can also learn to love yourself. Reverse that cycle. You can reverse that and start to love yourself. And that shows up in many ways. Like, oh, you now like your house clean. You'd rather have your house in order, and you can see where things are. Everything has its place, and it helps you think better. And that's just an expression of you taking care of yourself, you loving yourself. You like to dress better. You like to eat better. You like to go for a run and exercise, break a sweat. You like to take a bath at the end of the day and relax. You like to take time and just chill out and listen to music, or write, or just self-reflect, be in peace, sit in silence. All of those things that you do for yourself, that is simple expressions of love towards yourself. You are taking care of yourself, right? Every time you do anything for yourself, that is you showing yourself how much you care about yourself. And you can see how that can just automatically improve your life. And because your surrounding is better, you're creating better circumstance in your life, then you also build more confidence as well, which is coming from the external, right? And this internal and external kind of feeds on each other. There's this upward spiral that happens when you're working on one part of it, and then it reflects on the outside. There's an expression in the reality that you live. There is an expression of that internal world that you have. And then that in turn creates the environment where you feel even better yourself inside. And it feeds itself. And this is the way that you can create that reality where you are content, you are joyful, you are happy, you are content, and you find purpose in this new environment where it is literally your own design. Okay. You are designing this reality, and it truly does come from within. It truly does. It is simply whatever you see out here is a reflection of what's going on inside you, right? So you can work on that internal, give yourself that love, and you show up for yourself. You show up for yourself. You love yourself. Now, the external part of it is that you have to take those actions, right? You have to show up for yourself. Okay, you can sit there and think about how you love yourself, but then if you're not expressing that into action, then nothing happens outside of it, right? Sure, you could argue that you can simply just accept yourself for whatever it is that you are and just be content. And I'm not going to argue with that because I believe that is true. You don't need anything. Nothing is necessary. You can simply accept whatever you are and be content. Sure, if you can achieve that, that's like some kind of nirvana or enlightenment. You know, it's like you have achieved this detachment from any material success. You are unattached from any sort of desire. You have no ambition. You can just sit there, everything the way it is. Let's say you are in bad health, you are feeling crappy, your house is not in order, you don't have good relationships with people, but you say, you know what? I accept it. I accept me. And if you can achieve that, good for you. But I believe that your spirit always know when you're bullshitting yourself. When you're bullshitting yourself, you always know in your fucking gut. In your gut, you know that yes, you can do better. Yes, you actually think this is trash. The situation you're in is trash. And you're lying to yourself to avoid the work because you're lazy. Okay? And you know that in your gut. I don't need to tell you. No one needs to tell you. And no one needs to tell you how to live your life. It's your life. And you are a free individual with your personal agency to decide for yourself how you want to live your life. That is absolutely your right. Ultimately, you only have your spirit to answer to. And I believe that your spirit, wherever it might be, God in the sky, it's in your heart, wherever, in your gut, wherever you think it is, the spirit, I believe you always know when you're bullshitting yourself. And effectively, to continue to be happy or bliss, you will have to compartmentalize a part of yourself that you know you're bullshitting. You have to shove that back in the shadow to just ignore it, essentially in denial. Right? Acceptance can look like that. Acceptance can look like denial. Acceptance can look like giving up. Acceptance also can look like surrender. But surrender to your duty, not like surrender like, okay, raise my white flag, I lose, I give up. No, surrender meaning you surrender to the reality of the situation that you are in, and you get up and you surrender to the purpose and the path that you need to get on so that you can be your best self. You give yourself to your path. You give yourself to this purpose, whatever it is you've got to do. Wherever your spirit is calling you to do, you give yourself, you surrender yourself to that. Right? That is also self-acceptance in my mind. The people argue back and forth about like, you just accept yourself. You don't need to kill yourself, trying hard and developing yourself and all this. Like, you are good as you are. I agree with you. I believe that we all deserve love. We all deserve love. We all deserve that. We have that love in us. We are love. But accepting yourself, in my mind, doesn't mean that you simply give up. It only means that you accept the good and the bad and the ugly. You do not judge them. You simply accept it, right? And you still can love yourself. We're not looking for perfection. We can love ourselves unconditionally, even if we're not in our best place. However, nothing can really stop you other than yourself to strive for your greatness, to surrender to your calling. you can accept that as a gift, right? And it will most likely put you on a path that is going to be hard, that is going to challenge you, and you're going to suffer. But you can, the way I see it, all of that is a gift that you can accept to fully realize your potential. I see it as that. There's still acceptance going on. You're accepting unconditionally the love you have for yourself, wherever you are. You are in different places in the road. Everybody's different. We all have different paths we have to go through. None of us come from the same place. And we're all going to end up in different places. But we're sharing this space and time we are in currently together. And we are creating this reality together. And we can all have our own contribution to it to make it great. And that is this purpose and this gift you have that you have to accept to truly fulfill your life, to live a purposeful, satisfying, spirited life. And I believe that when you accept these things internally, right? This unconditional love you want to have for yourself to show up. Okay. To come from this right place. Like there's this abundant energy there from this infinite source that you can tap into, to always feel that you have this fountain of energy that's emanating from within. This love you have for yourself, this confidence, internal confidence you can have for yourself. And an expression of that in the external world where you go to work. You put that energy and focus into creating what it is that you have to create. And give that gift back. Since you have been receiving it. Now it's time for you to create something and express that love in your own way. And that is all you can do, right? And that the external expression and the certainty and the purposefulness, the directionality that you have within that action is that external confidence, or what people will say, you look certain, or you look confident, or you seem authentic. You seem to know what you're doing. When you're guided by that type of purpose, you have certainty, right? I call it like spiritual alignment. You're aligned. Everything I just talked about, you're in alignment. Your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions, your beliefs, it is aligned in this straight line, congruent and directed, penetrating force, powerful. And you're creating this reality wherever you walk. Of course, that looks like confidence, but it's also coming from this very infinite, very abundant place. And of course, that is powerful. Of course, it is powerful. You're driven by meaning that is greater than yourself. You're tapped into this abundant source of energy and self-love, and you have purpose. And you get up every day and you give yourself to that purpose. You surrender yourself to this path and this expression of it. And that's the way that I see confidence. I believe that is the ultimate form of confidence you can have. And I believe it is spiritual. I believe that self-development is spiritual. Ultimately, I think that that's all we have to do here. You know, like from the moment you're born to the moment you die, basically that's all we are here to do, is just to have this spiritual journey. We're having a spiritual experience, and we have the opportunity to live that out fully, or we can infinitely distract ourselves with just bullshit, okay? With all kinds of addictions, distractions, thrills, whatever, okay? Like these very superficial instant gratification that is going to distract you enough to numb yourself from that part of you that you might have suppressed. We talked about that denial. I accept it. This is me. This is who I am, right? And there is still a part of you that is always calling out to you, right? The spirit speaks to you. And most people are just suppressing that and never answering that spirit, never having that spiritual conversation. They numb themselves with whatever, alcohol, partying, drugs, relationships, right? Television, whatever, buying stuff, consumerism, These are things that give you this very cheap hit of validation, which is an extremely motivating factor for people. But you can probably tell from experience, it never lasts. It's not this source that actually gives you energy. It actually takes from you. I feel that it takes more than it gives. You give yourself, you give yourself, you give yourself. You put on this dance performance so that people think you're cool, and you get a hit of validation when they accept you, when they think you're cool, and then the next day it's gone. That validation is gone. So you have to keep running on this treadmill. You have to keep spinning your wheels in the mud. You have to fucking keep doing the little dance. I believe that takes far more from you than it gives. And I think that a lot of people mistake that as confidence. The ability to just sustain that type of the rat race, this constant running on this treadmill to appear a certain way, to have, validation, like accolades, like some credential, right? That other people give you this value in you. Because other people say you're cool. Then you feel enough. Then, okay, I must be cool because they think I'm cool, because I did this, because I did that, right? This external need for validation, right? People that have that, you might mistake them as having confidence. You might mistake that. You might look at somebody like that and think they are confident. But you can just as easily take away their confidence if you took away these external validations. It's extremely easy. And these people, when you have taken away the proof, let's say this external source of confidence, it's quite easy for them to start acting not so confident. They might become jealous. They might become extremely competitive, very pity. They might try to bring down anyone that they perceive as a threat. Perhaps they have low self-esteem. Like, it's quite clear then whether that person is actually confident or not. So I always think that you're always going to end up having to talk to you got to get into this spiritual alignment. Like, it's just inevitable in life. You can continue just denying yourself, fooling yourself, distracting yourself, but I believe it always will catch up to you. And I believe confidence, true confidence, has to do with that inner alignment and the expression of it. And that is a conversation you can only have with yourself. It isn't going to be anybody. No one can tell you how to do that. You have to have that conversation with yourself. And the more that you become in alignment to it, the more assured you will be. Because it does not matter what anybody says. Because this is your truth, and you stand by it, and you buy in 100%. No one can tell you otherwise. No one can tell you. And people will try, believe me. But when you are totally convinced and bought in, and you have that faith, you will no longer believe them. As soon as you start walking to your own beat, everybody's gonna try to get you off of it. It's crazy how that works, right? It's like the universe fucking tests you. As soon as you start marching to your own beat, the fucking world will tell you how you are crazy, how you look dumb. They'll make fun of you. They'll try to bring you down. It's insane how that works. But you can imagine when somebody is struggling with confidence and they just continuously need external validation and they care what other people think, the first thing those people will do is try to knock down people who are actually becoming confident, because it sheds a light on themselves about how they are denying their true selves. They are denying, parts of themselves that they need to look at. They're shoving parts of themselves away and trying to put on a facade to appear confident. And by bringing other people down, that's supposed to make them look confident. It's completely backwards. It's completely backwards, right? So, again, I believe it's very important to start inside. And we talked about self-love. That is at the foundation of it. You deserve it. You don't need to do anything. You need to accomplish anything. You can love yourself unconditionally. It doesn't matter if you're successful, if you're unsuccessful. It doesn't matter. You can still be compassionate towards yourself. You can always be nice to yourself. There's no reason to be not nice to yourself. There's no reason. You just, treat yourself as if you are the best friend. Like the things you would do for a friend, you can do to yourself. Talk to yourself as kind as you would to a good friend. You want them to feel good. It's okay. You'll get up and you're gonna pick it up and you're gonna, continue on this journey, and you will always be beside yourself. You are always gonna be there for yourself. That is at the foundation of it. And then understanding that you have a calling. You accept it. You surrender yourself to it. And you get out of your own way so that you can express that and affect and influence your surrounding and your environment. And that will look like confidence once you stop giving a shit what anybody says and you are subscribed to your own truth, and no one can tell you what that is. You have to figure that out yourself by having that conversation with yourself, listening to your spirit, spend time alone, be in silence, stop distracting yourself and numbing yourself. That is taking you further away from yourself, and you're getting all that noise from other people and just static noise that drowns out your voice, your inner voice. You need to get that clear signal. You tap into that and you send that energy out and make that influence around you, and you give yourself to that, and you show up every day and you try to do that job, whatever it is, that work you have, your spiritual work you need to do. You give yourself to it and you try to do it as best as you can and improve every single day. And that kind of purpose and that kind of certainty is the ultimate confidence, I believe. Right? I'm not going to talk about to appear confident, you should stand like this. To appear confident, you should talk like that. Look, these are skills. These are little tricks and gimmicks you can do. And you can appear confident, but these things will happen to you naturally if you start to embody what I was just talking about. It comes from within, and you feel at ease. You walk through the world with ease, with confidence, and you have purpose and you are aligned, and nothing can take you away from that, right? So that's it. That's how you become confident. All right. Now, maybe on another day, we can talk about, the gimmicks, the tricks, the body language, the how should I talk? Of course, there are skills, right? When we talk about the expression of it, these are skills, right? It's like, how do you play the piano? Well, I don't fucking know. But like your body, you can see it as an instrument as well. Okay. You have this body and you have the ability to use your body, your voice, your expression to communicate. You are always communicating something in your environment. Even if you're standing there doing nothing, you are always communicating to your environment. Now that once you're aware of it, of course, you can use these instruments to convey certain information, communicate certain information. That is, I would say, more advanced. You know, if you're stuck worrying about like how do I be confident, you know, worrying about these nuances is kind of like it's like trying to put makeup on a pig, you know. It's like you should get the foundation right, and then once you don't have to figure out, once you're not worried about what's going on internally, you can now start playing with the game that is happening in front of your eyes. You know, you're kind of not playing in the field if you're stuck in here and you're having internal battles. Do you know what I mean? Like let's get this figured out so that you're playing the game in front of your eyes and you're actually seeing what's happening in front of you clearly, and not it's not foggy or distorted because you have bad optics because your brain is fucked, right? So yeah, that's a whole nother topic which is very interesting. We can talk about that another day. So that's it. That's my rant today. Hope it made some sense. Being confident. You know, I tend to go into this spiritual direction. I believe that is foundational, and it's something that everybody needs to do eventually if you truly want to be like a fulfilled individual, you know. And look, not everybody's gonna do this, okay? I'm fucking crazy. I want it all. So I want it to be, I am very thorough. I think about things. I'm just thorough with everything I do. But look, not everybody's gonna do this. Not everybody cares to the extent that I do. But if you do give a shit, then this is what I gotta tell you. All right. I love you, and I'll see you in the next one.